Alright, we do need to build uh, another nuke box or two for hopefully these queen cells we're going to be pulling. But first, we're going to try something. You're going to have to follow along with this. It's a bit of an experiment, and it's a good possibility it doesn't work out. So just try to remember that all of the how-to videos that you find on this channel are only how to do it wrong. Alright, this is DIY errors at their best. Man, can you see all them little bees in there? You just love that food. This thing's empty though. Alright, but what we're doing is stealing. We're stealing this box here, and we are going to use it for our measurements. What did I just do? I had these in here to help with ventilation, and I just knocked them on the ground apparently. Alright, girls, be nice. Okay, get them set back up here. Just knocked it off. It's always something. We'll see you in the shop. Okay, this is our demo box. What we plan to pull our measurements from. Sure you won't be able to see down in there. So what I'm looking to do is I want to make it as a deep, because I have mostly deep frames. All my medium frames are like this, and my deep frames they all have foundation. I bought them new. This is just some stuff that came with these boxes we bought from somebody. But I'm looking to create a space for 3 frames. Give them a little entrance here in the front. Have a 3/4 inch divider. Space for another 3 frames. Right. Their entrance can go on the back side. Another 3/4 inch. And room for 3 more frames. I think that math mostly works out. I believe these are right about 1.5 inches. There is always a tape measure in here, but it's not always where you might find it. So I'm looking to take this 10 frame, remove the space of 1, so it's not quite 1.5. So maybe my inside spacers will have to be, a little less than 3/4, maybe 5/8 or something like that, to take up those 2 spaces. And there'll definitely have to be a little work covering this. Let's get you in the frame here. Covering this area. Because even putting a divider in here, it has to come up and it has to block this lip. So either I'm going to build the 3 fronts separate, which is how my nuke boxes are outside. But I don't think that's going to work so well. I believe I'm going to have to build it as one piece, so that I can attach the sides and attach these nails going this way. But let me see what I can work out, and I'll give you an update. Okay, quick update. Here's what I've been able to mistaken so far. Pull my measurements in this box for outside length and width dimensions, also taking in account this inside length, this inside set, because I'm not using 3/4 inch board here like you should be. I have something that's probably 1/2 inch, but I still want it to fit on top of one of these if needed, or put one of these on top of it. And I also still need these frames to fit in because I'm using full-length frames. So this is the frame rest, and if things are accurate, or if I need to fudge it, I'm gonna have a set of 3 in the center, and then another set of 3. I just had to freehand this. If you look at my markings here, I had to figure out exactly where it was going to be, and then take a line down, and that's what I tried to run these guys at. I think that one you can see the line somewhat there. Incredible pain in the butt. You don't want to do it that way, but it's free wood. Also, just as a side note, when you get free wood, there's always chunks like this. People can't cut straight, they hack it all up. So always make sure you got a square. Because you start cutting it and it wasn't square to start with, and you are incredibly unhappy. So, a couple pointers. Be back in a bit. Okay, making those dividers. Who remembers the last lesson? Don't trust the guy before you. This was not square when I cut it, because I didn't square my wood. This is 3/4, and the rest of this was 1/2. I had squared that up. I did not square this up before I started, so I cut one piece that just barely fits. The other piece, I got lucky, and it does kind of fit. Both, I had to cut those out at 3/4 because, when you're working with free, you do the best you can. We're going to throw a bottom on this. Hopefully everyone touches the bottom correctly. And then we have to build some lids, and we still have to run we run a runner inside here on the nuke boxes. So I'll do the same here, and that will finish out the top side. We'll just give you the example of what this is supposed to look like. So you see what's missing. This is that rabbit you would put into a 1x, but instead I have this, and then I will have something, about 2 inches or so I put in there, something about 2 inches wide, so it gets good attachment, and it creates the rest of that wall. Reference. Sitting on this piece of wood, I need to add this piece of wood. Okay, let's do a quick catch up here. The box is just about done. Let's back up here, give you a little bit of a view. Alright, the centerpieces I attached on the edges. Just ran nails down the side. If you got an air nailer, things like this would be a lot easier. I don't, so most of my stuff isn't square. I have to fudge it, and it's a little bit of a pain. I also cut out a base for it. It's nice when it has a base, because then you can kind of square your box back up when you nail that on. You can see I made it out of 2 pieces. I gave each side a little bit of an overhang because I'll have an entrance and an entrance, and on the other side, the entrance for the middle. These here, just a word about the dimensions. I'm pretty much pulling these dimensions right off of Coates, I believe the guy's name is. If you just look up Coates 5-frame nuke box, you will see pretty much this exact design, just as a 5-frame. And I'm just fabricabbling this together on the fly to see if it'll work. But the same thing with this. This is, you know, just at 2 inches, 1.5 inches, whatever it is. That goes on to make the outside and finish out that rabbit that you never cut. All right. Now you could have this run the full length. You know, say if you have power tools and you're working with them and you are uncomfortable doing a certain thing on it, just stop. All right. And if you know, this is the first you're hearing of any kind of power tool woodworking safety precautions, you need to return your tools or find a mentor or something, because I'm not the guy to be getting safety tips from. So you make it even easier. You could have this be a full side. You know, you could just use 2 pieces of wood to create that rabbit for yourself, if you would be uncomfortable making a rabbit. Now this here is just to you know, I'm using scrap wood. This is all throwaway stuff. If you look around my shop here, you can see this is just stacks of stuff I pull from Craigslist. You know, PVC and plastic, and there's no stack of 2x4s anywhere. If you see 2x4s, I pull them off a pallet. So these here that I messed up, these dividers, once you form up the box, get your dimensions in there. I cut one of these right here a little short. There's a little bit of a gap under this. So, you know, wood putty to the rescue, because it might be big enough for a bee to fit through. But this space here, if you want 3 to fit in there with, you know, a little bit of finger room, you can see that. I was just over 4.5 inches, I believe. This here looks like it's right at 4.5. Here it's a little bit over. I believe I just measured the outside ones. That looks like, what, 5/8, 4 5/8. Let's get you up a little higher. You can measure with me. 4 5/8. I came in 4 5/8. And this center one looks like it came up almost 4 5/8. So they were pretty good. You know, you still got room to get in there. Jesus, somebody worked the camera already. You still got plenty of room to get in there. You can get your fingers in there. You know, you could design this as a 2-frame. You could, you know, design it as 3 5s. I have a few queens coming. I have 11 queens in my one strong hive out there. If you watched any of the other videos, you've probably seen it. Hey, look, there's a big bush in the way. But let's just get a quick review of what the Coates, maybe it's D Coates 5-frame nuke boxes, made out of 1/2 inch plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, whatever you want. That's what these look like. All right, from here down. That's his design. The lid is his design. I I altered his design a little bit in order to create a top box, a super, whatever you want to call it, for these things. You'll notice there's a little added piece here, all the way down. You need to add that in because you get a little bit of gap right there. So that's something you got to kind of finagle. Also, this depth is a little too high when you make it into a nuke box for or you make an extension like that. So you want to take like a 1/2 to 3/4 inch off the bottom of this and make it a little bit shorter, because your deep frames leave a little bit too much space, and you get burr, comb, or they'll build in between the frames because it's just way too big of a space in there. So I've cut it down by just over a 1/2 inch, somewhere between a 1/2 and 3/4. I cut them all at a different time as I worked them out of being used. But just remember, if you want to put a second box on top of any of these designs, just shrink it up a little bit, because that if you look, oh, these aren't going to show it, but normally there's a 3/4 of an inch gap down here for the bees to be on, and they don't seem to close it up like they would if it was this big gap up here. Alright, gonna make 3 lids, same design as coats. They're just gonna overhang a little bit, and I'll try to make them fit up as tightly as possible, so that you just open one at a time. You don't have to worry about opening more than one. You know, you only want to get into one area at a time, and then it gets painted. More. Okay, found some really funky, almost 3/4 inch board here to make these lids out of. I'm just keeping it flush on here. Put a runner underneath the front and the back so they don't shift this way, and they each overlap just a hair. And the one in the center, the trapezoid that I was cutting these out of didn't work out so well, so that one is over there getting glued back together. Had like a little inch corner missing. So eventually you'll see it painted and out there in use. Monday I need to be pulling those queens out. I got a couple of holes to drill in this thing. I'll slap some paint on it, but I think everybody knows how to do that stuff. So you'll probably see it after Monday, once I try to cut some queen cells and divvy them up in this thing. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll try making a video of that. Have a good day.